Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonrag. I'm here with Debbie Hedberg of Debbie Freebird Spirit on our series of spiritual pals. How you doing, Debbie?
Hi, David. Good. I'm doing great.
Good. By the way, everyone, I want to tell y'all that Debbie has lots of great classes. You can go to freebirdspirit.com, classes on intuition, Reiki. You've also got an event in a retreat in Sedona, don't you?
Yes, retreat coming up in October in Sedona. And
Mm-hmm.
you can find all that info on the website and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe could you just tell us a couple things about the retreat and what people could learn?
Well, the retreat, I am co-retreating with others that they may recognize from YouTube as well. Kevin, the healing medium, and Jeffrey Peck, medium. We are coming together and putting together this amazing event, and it's to grow spiritually, connect in. There's going to be sound healing and mediumship, and we have people coming in as well. We're going to do some we're going to meet our ET family and friends. We have someone coming in that's going to host that for us. And then the last bit of it, if you stay on after the retreat, we are going to be teaching Reiki 1 and 2 that you can be attuned in. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a good reason to go to the US. And everybody, this brings us to some great topics here. I really love these events because they're helping keep the vibration high. The social situation that we're in has brought out all our intuitive powers, and that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
on that note, Debbie, I'd like to just ask, how do you, in the stressful times we're experiencing, how do you keep that vibration up?
Well, I do have to be intentional about it because
Mhm.
it does feel like, especially if you are an empath and you go out into the world, it just feels like you're going out into, if you look at the picture of going out into the world of, um, uh, you know, uh, plants with the spikes on them. No, okay. Now I'm having a hard time thinking of words, but, you're going out and there's a lot of spikes. So needing to be, pay attention and be intentional because you're just a little more sensitive. And I would assume if you're watching this, you are too a little more sensitive. And sensitive is a good thing because you are more aware. You're able to move energy pretty easily, but you also attract energy pretty easily. So we can get caught into the web of what you could call negative and positive. So, or more challenging, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't like to use the word negative. We just do have a lot of different levels of energy that are happening at the same time. And
Mhm.
if you're running at this vibration up here, this energy down here, which is not, I'm not judging this energy, it just is this energy down here, right? And if you're moving at this, um, this can has the potential to bring you down. So
Yeah.
I do have to be intentional. So I have created personally, I have created a routine. So before I even open my eyes, and you guys, I have this little mask on my face. So I have my little eye mask on. Before I even take that eye mask off, I'm already touching base with my spirit team.
Mm.
I'm just saying I'm grateful to them. Thank you for the dreams. Even if I don't remember them, I thank them because I know that I had them.
Uh-huh.
But I'm thanking them for my dreams and helping me out through the night, and then stepping into the day. The first thing I'm going to step into is a circle of gratefulness, and whatever happens that day, I am love. Um, I am light, and the most benevolent outcome of that day for me. And so I am intentional before even taking my eye mask off with those prayers. So I know, so I'll get up, start my day. And another thing, you guys, it takes me about 2 hours to wake up, I'm telling you. I think I must travel at night because it takes about 2 hours to come back to my body.
Wow.
Even with that intentional prayer, that's what starts bringing me back. But literally, it takes a good 2 hours to fully come back in.
Really?
But so if any challenges hit me through the day, I'll step back into my circle of gratefulness. And literally, if I have to take a physical step back, I will. But I will always step back into that intention that I've placed.
Mm.
So I've had to make a routine
Yeah.
with the atmosphere that we have, the political atmosphere, the war, whatever you want to call it here. I'm in the United States, so the civil unrest here, that I can feel in the air,
Hmm.
or whatever, wherever you're at. But it's been a little extra, and so I've had to be a lot more intentional, that's for sure, David. Yeah.
I 100% see where you're going. I was sort of a little bit after you because I'm in Australia, so the stress isn't so great there. But I am there now. Just, if you open your eyes, it's just so much energy shifting.
And I mean, also because we are all sensitive here, we have wars, we have genocide, we have all this stuff happening on the planet.
Mhm.
Um, and Gaia is shifting as well. So we're feeling that as well. We are connected to this information highway. We all are, whether you are paying attention to it or not.
Right.
So it's going to affect us in one way or another. So to be intentional about how you kind of dress yourself spiritually in the morning, I think is important. How
Right.
about you? What do you do?
Well, I'm starting to do, and this is completely new, breath work. And
Mm.
I knew nothing about it. It's still major effort. It's still that 2 hours you're talking about to get myself to actually complete that and get to the point where I'm doing it. It's a lot like this kind of, mudra sort of thing, but there's a variety. I have found that I use this now more often after I have clients because, just like you're really moved by your clients. Your clients will give you sometimes intense information that you can wind up carrying around for them, and that's not helping anyone. So I find now that afterwards, I try to do the breath work to just be like, this is not my material. I've done what I can do. I also absolutely, meditate. I'm fanatic meditating every morning, 7 days a week. I used to just do 5, but now no matter what, no matter where I am, I will get up and meditate for, at this point, at least 20 minutes. Now I happily move to the beach, which means I have a really
I
beautiful
think
yard that helps. So that's another one of the
water,
things that I do is
water.
enjoy the beautiful garden that I have. I find myself the opposite too. I'm waking up at like 5:30 in the morning these days. I used to be an absolute night owl, but something changed. I wonder if it's having been a school teacher for too long. Now I wake up automatically. And of course, I have a workaholic partner who's like, he's getting up at 5:15. So I'm like, hell, I gotta catch up to him. So I get a lot of more work done in the morning. I'm kind of stunned. But it's not unintentional. I really do consciously have to say, Dave, get out of this bed, go meditate. I do have a cup of coffee with that. So I kind of have both. And I'm limiting my coffee. So I do very much, though, have to consciously choose this and consciously choose not to get on YouTube and watch every single thing that touches on every single thing I'm interested in. Because you and I both know you will be there all night.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the common thread here that we are kind of talking about is being intentional. Whatever that is, whatever practice that is for you individually, it's the requirement of being intentional. Um, and sometimes it's not comfortable. Like you're like, okay, 5:30, I'm getting up. It's not comfortable, but I'm gonna do that. And you're reaping the rewards of that. That's
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in the Peace Corps, I had terrible insomnia. And I mean, I wouldn't sleep for days and days. And it would be 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be pounding the pillow. And the only thing that would put me to sleep is get up and jog. So I'd get up and jog in the pitch dark at 3 o'clock in the morning, and Hungarians just let their dogs roam at night. So there'd be barking dogs chasing me all the time. And I would just like, you gotta do it. You will not sleep if you don't. And I'd come back and boom, fall right to sleep. It's really hard to do, but I think that the benefits of these intentional actions, in some sense, all of the stuff that's happening to us, terrible though it may be, and difficult though it may be, is actually inspiring us to do intentional things like this. So there is an upside. There's just as there's an upside to getting yourself to, exercise. You'll feel great after. So I think there is something valuable even within the difficulty.
And I think too, and you're probably seeing this too with the sessions you're having, the individual sessions you're having with folks, is guiding to remember who you are.
Yeah.
We're really, as we're going through this shift, and I know everybody talks about the shift or what's ever happening, we are leveling up. There's something happening. So whatever you
Yes.
call it, you do you. I'm okay with that. But we are transitioning into something new,
Yeah.
and deny that any longer. And so a lot of the guidance has been kind of remembering that you are more than just this. You have this higher mind, this higher soul self, this forever soul that's here, that's part of you. And so combining that and uniting that and helping them realize there's so much more than just this physical thing that we're in. And we all have this ability. So, breaking that narrative that there's only a special few that can
Mm.
be, intuitive, psychic, medium, whatever the word you want to use. Again, we all have this ability to kind of connect into the collective conscious, this highway that's right here.
Mm.
I mean, your phone does it. So do
Right.
you. So,
Right.
right? So the
Right. Right.
invisible waves here, you can connect in. It's not a trick. It's
Yeah,
not something special. We all can do it.
it isn't.
Um, so I've always felt that way. I mean, for over 40 years, I've been preaching this, that you can hear, you can also hear and listen and like that. So it's morphed over the years to what I'm doing now, but I've always encouraged others to listen and hear, because
Mm.
they could as well. And so everybody that's listening, you all know you can too. Um, and it's important, and I feel like it's an important time. And you all are here right now for this time. So must be something in there that is sparking kind of, oh, I do remember that I could do this. So
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Now,
okay, go ahead.
I just wonder if it's the same for you. Was there like a period of time when you were a child and you just like, okay, this is normal, and then a shutdown period? Did that happen to you too?
I didn't have like the normal shutdown period that some people talk about. It just kind of morphed into different avenues to go ahead and fly my freak flag this way. You know what I mean? but I never had that shutdown. My own, I think I had a lot of fear when I was little because I
Mm,
didn't understand. So maybe fear had a little bit of a shutdown on me for sure.
mhm.
But as far as pursuing and knowing, always wanting to know, open this up bigger, whatever it was. I just always had this drive, even though I didn't have words for it. Yeah.
Mm, mhm.
Did you have the shutdown period?
Well, I actually was quite mystified. I grew up in a family that was completely rational, no religion of any kind for the most part. My parents are generally just good people, and
Yeah.
they would make interesting, when they would watch, religion do something. I remember my father asking this question again. I don't think he'd been in a church at all except for a wedding in 40 years, but he asked, after something was on the news, how many people believed in God because they love God, and how many people believed in God because they feared him. The only thing my father ever said. It's a great thing to say, interesting. But
That
there's
is
none of that. Like, if any of that came up, my parents would be like, well, no, obviously that's hogwash, So a couple of times these things happen, and I just remember noticing my parents' expression, like, where'd you come up with that? You're 5. Why are you talking about reincarnation? What would you even know about that? Like, what? I mean, I was very sure I had the answer at 5. So there was just kind of a, I guess it must be nothing. And that happened a bunch of times until it became really painfully obvious that it wasn't nothing. I went into a house with a poltergeist. And it was so obvious that we had to run out the door. Like, it was that crazy. And so I think the universe was like, hey, Dave,
right.
hey,
Yeah.
and I just remember walking home going, there's something more to logic about the universe.
And so a lot of that, it sounds like to me, a lot of that struggle was the narratives that you were struggling with, the programming that is
Mhm,
out there, and you broke through the narrative
mhm,
and the programming that was out there for yourself, and
mhm.
found your way. Um, and that's a lot of what's happening right now.
Right.
We're breaking through that. So you did that. And not only for you, but you did it for others coming behind you.
Mm,
And so all of us, so everybody that's watching, you break through some of this narrative that, you know, the burn the witch on the stake narrative, and all the rest of it that comes with this, the devil and all the narratives that try to tear that down and make you freakish.
yeah.
We're breaking through that. So you break through that too. You're not only doing it for yourselves, you guys, but you're doing it for others coming in behind you, where
Mhm,
you're breaking that narrative where it is going to dissolve. And all of a
mhm.
sudden, it's not, there won't be that challenge any longer. So then can you
Right.
imagine the type of communication that we can have, the type of connections we can have with each other and source?
It does take courage, but there are rapid changes, right?
There, yes.
Rapid
Yes.
positives.
Rapid changes. You know, I know David and I had the privilege to grow up in the 70s, and it was slow times. We
Yeah.
didn't have these big shifts then. It was slower times. Uh, and I'm not saying that's better. I'm just saying that's how it was. There was a lot of oppression and a
Yeah.
lot of boxes that people lived in. Perceptions were very narrow. And because of that, it was slower times. Uh,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden, we we got on the fast train, didn't we?
We sure did. Yeah.
And it started moving on really fast.
Really
So I
fast.
believe that once we hit 2000, there was no going back. It
Yeah.
just significantly sped up.
Yes. Yeah.
So, um, some of the things that are coming to my mind, maybe to help out, and I have to do this myself all the time and check this out. If I if if I get fearful about something, like the news, or like I'm watching a trial go on and something, the news comes out and is giving something that I don't want to hear, and it can
Uh-huh.
get you into fear, or presidential polls, or any of those things. It's important to recenter and bring yourself back to now. Uh, if if you are if you're experiencing fear, it generally is showing you that you're living in the future.
Mhm.
We're just not there yet. So um, if you try not to live in that future that we don't know the outcome, bring your self back to the now and recenter. And that should help with those moments of
Mhm.
of the fear coming in. Do you notice that, David, for
Well, it's
yourself?
just so funny that you literally said, today you said the words of several people I've been talking to, one of which is Cash Peters. I just had this conversation with him, and he's like, "Hey, look, there's no point worrying about future, among other things, it might not happen. So you've just worried about nothing. 99% of it doesn't happen. Worry is not helping. Do you do something to, I mean, because I get in that point where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm looking at new polls. Oh my God, oh my God. And I know that I'm being manipulated here. I know that these are not real, that this is, the media making money off of itself, right? And just spinning this and spinning this and spinning this. But is there a particular way that you get yourself back to not worry?
Well, I literally just take a breath, like you were talking about breath work. I will literally take a breath and just go, wait a minute.
Mhm.
I have the knowledge to know that I could be being manipulated right now. This is something that is out of my locus of control. I'm not going to allow this. I'm not going to live in the fear because it's in the future. It's
Right.
I'm here right in this moment right now. I'm I am love, I am light, I'm grateful. You know what I mean? So I just bring myself back to that narrative
Mhm. Mhm.
instead of whatever random thing is going on out here. That's the only thing I can that truly helps is taking that breath and reminding myself
Right.
be
You're
in the
not in the
now,
future. Yeah, you're now.
not
That's
in the future. And then it becomes kind of automatic. It's not something that I have to, if you do it over and over again, it becomes an automatic
hmm
realignment.
hmm
So
And you
yeah.
just say, I'm light and love, I'm here now, etc.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's an excellent point because it brings the power back to you.
that's right.
You have the power to regulate yourself. You have the power to determine what is happening with you right now. And that power influences the next person that you talk to because they're going to be like, oh my gosh, Debbie, you're so in control. You're not freaking out. How can I be like you, Debbie? And that is really changing the whole narrative. I think that we really did in the past 6 years. I think we really have changed a lot of narratives just by constantly being present and bringing people back to now and being like craziness out there, love going on right here, and that has shown people that we are still very connected and
Yes,
good people still are available, and you just have to find them and helpful people and people who support you. I think it's great, and I think it's great to have people observe us do these things to help gain to the middle. It's not passive. It really is a choice that we all make. Everyone makes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And until it becomes a part of your um, natural movement, it's something
Mhm.
you have to be intentional about. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned also some other ways to keep yourself in the moment, and something else that you might share with people.
Um, did I?
You did, and I don't know if you've already covered it, right? So maybe this will be a portion we'll cut out. I think you already talked about it, but maybe you didn't.
I think I did. I talked a little bit about, really staying being in alignment.
Right.
Uh, and really, you can use whatever words you want or whatever you resonate with. Is it stepping into your power?
Right.
Or is it stepping into your alignment, or being in the now? There's so many different terms that you can use to kind of draw yourself back uh, to center or to self here. And again, I say self, and that could be triggering for people too, because again, the programming. Um, but we are connected. We're all connected. So what is self? It's
Mhm.
it's everybody, right?
Good question. Yeah.
Wow,
Mm.
that's a whole nother program.
It sure is. Now, we did talk a little bit about channeling today. Did you want to just to channel some stuff for the peeps out there today?
Uh, Let's see what my team wants to bring in. They're making me very aware of it's excitement. So I'm stepping right into excitement. These are exciting times.
Mm,
So changing that perspective of fear into this is exciting times, times of awakening and remembering. But as I look over at them, and I say them, my team or whatever spirit here, they're smiling. They're smiling. This is very exciting to them as well, because again, we're all connected. And as we all awaken, this connection to them and having them, because just imagine you talked about reincarnation and coming back, and here we are at this time where so many of us are awakening and connecting in and talking to our spirit team, our guides, our love,
mhm.
all of that. How exciting is that?
Yeah.
Uh, because can you imagine being a guide before? And I'm making this up, you guys, but I just kind of picture them going, "Oh my gosh, she's not listening. We've been telling her, she's not listening." But you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now, as this connection is becoming very clear, or much clearer, how exciting it is for them as well, for this new world coming in.
Mhm.
And that we're part of ushering in, and they're also saying, "What a good job you got." This has kind of been, a bit challenging, hasn't
A
it? It's
big
been
deal. Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
And you guys we're doing a good job, is what they're saying.
Hmm.
Good
Hmm.
job, keep it up. But keep that connection and continue to go back to that energy of love. Whenever you're in a situation, they say, and you're like, how do I handle this? Just step into the energy of love. Love doesn't always mean a hug, but it always does bring it always, you come, you will channel truth, um, in those moments, in that love. You will see clearly. You'll see more clearly the whole picture. Your perception will grow if you, instead of seeing something like this, you'll see it like this. And they also bring it in even with those personalities that challenge you, and you're like, I don't want their vibration near me. They're too challenging, and we don't see at all the same. Again, they're saying this is a challenge for you. Uh, Step into love, open your perception, and look
Hmm.
at them again, so you can see them the way we see them. So these are all just opportunities again, to grow. And we are in this rapid growth place. And we don't always get to pick and choose our battles, do we? It just kind of, if they are in our in our path, uh, some people may say, well, that was part of what I contracted when I came in. This is something I wanted to learn and grow in. And they said some of that is true. But
Mhm.
some of it is just you live on a planet with a lot of humans.
Yes, yes.
So um they're taking me now into this space of just that love. It's different than the excitement that they were having me feel. Now I'm very aware of just love and loving one another. And when you continue to grow that love in yourself, the ability to love one another, um, that truly is that awakened place you are trying to all get to.
Yeah,
They just brought in Mother Teresa.
yeah, great.
She's a good example of uh, releasing judgment. Like she released the challenge of judgment. So she was able to purely love others.
Hmm.
She didn't have that challenge of judgment. She was without judgment. And so a lot of us, we've been programmed to judge.
Yeah.
And so that's one of our battles, they say. So one of our main battles as humans on the planet right now is judgment, and to release judgment. At that point, we'll be able to really step into that awakening and release and love. You really step into that pure love. Mhm.
Terrific. That just
Yeah.
great,
Mm.
really. That's can we name your guides? Do we know who they are?
I am connected to an energy Mada.
Mhm.
And it's a whole interesting story how that happened. And I do feel that that was from her. And
Uh-huh.
I say her, but it's more of an energy of many. But I do have like more like one spokesman that kind of comes in from that energy, Mada, which I looked up and it means mother.
Oh,
I
great.
didn't know.
Wow.
And so it's a mother energy. So when I first connected into her, um, she said it's the vibration of mother. And I'm like, oh, okay. And when I looked up Mata, it means mother.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, I've been had some problems with my body, just an issue with my shoulder and knees. So I've been meditating in the morning, and at some point this guide showed up and is every morning having me to go to certain life experiences and sort of repair them. You know, your body's trying to tell you something. There's some unreleased trauma, perhaps. What I found really surprising was every few days I'd be like, "Here are your brilliant successes." Like, you forgot to notice, Dave. You know, you did these brilliant things. And I
I
would
get
say to
the chills. Oh my gosh. Yes.
all of y'all, you know, one thing that you must discover is when you're worrying and thinking and getting distracted by these events, bring it back to not just you and your capabilities, but these great successes that we all have.
Yes.
And I just find that, you know, even in a past life regression, I'll give somebody a past life, and at the end of it, it'll be like, okay, well, you learned exactly what you needed to learn. And they'll be like, yeah, well, I just learned it. I'm like, excuse me, you know, I'm getting out my chime here and go, hey, you did it. And only you could do it that way. And people will be like, but I'm a nobody. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, you are not a nobody. Nobody could have come from that place and done that success in exactly the way that you did it. It is like a message to the universe that somebody's going to grab and go, hey, that could influence my story too. I was really surprised at how much, like, they just showed me, hey, here's all these wonderful events that happened in your life. It's not all bad. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot how wonderful it was that I made all those friends, and I forgot how wonderful it was to, you know, be able just to do this work. You know, where do I go with the worry? And that's one of the reasons I made this show.
And that is part of the programming that we're breaking through, that
Mhm.
the shame, and that goes back to the shame of go run naked at the beach at night, go on. You be your bad self. And it is not shameful, but we've been shamed and we've
Mhm.
been we've been boxed in that we're not supposed to celebrate our successes. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's
Right.
like,
Oh,
"Ooh,
believe me,
mm,
like I have Midwestern parents and they're not so bad at this, but just the culture they come from, it's just, it's never good enough. You
we're gonna."
always could have done better.
Mhm.
Always. And there's never a resting and going, well, that was great. That's just me. I'm human and I do really good things. I'm really good at that. There's never that moment. And I think that is just, again, part of our super competitive culture and it's got to stop. It's not making anybody real happy. Sure, maybe we're the best at doing certain things in America. I've noticed that is somewhat true now. But living in a different country. But I've also noticed that Americans are just miserable people. Like you
Yeah.
do not encounter such people in Australia. That people do not argue about politics anywhere in Australia. Ever. Not once have I heard somebody even bring it up. I have no idea how my neighbors vote, nor would you be expected to know or care that much. And they're just a little bit like, well, my job's okay, but I surf on the weekends. That's what I live for. Oh, all right. Or I knit on the weekends, and that's what makes me happy. They're much more, they accept what they have. Whereas I think we are trained. And one of those layers of the onion is you're never good enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that, David, I have to say thank you for that because that is definitely one I need to peel off. I
Mhm.
react very strongly to that when you
Great.
said,
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would say to everyone, spend a little time looking at your successes and don't flinch away. It's not vain to say, I'm really good at knitting and I really enjoy it. And I have a lot of fun with my friends doing that one thing. Or I really enjoy, I've gotten so much better at meeting people, right? One thing I'll tell people is, believe it or not, I used to be shy. Okay, now I had class with students burst into laughter when I actually said that. Believe it or not, I wasn't talkative once. It is an endeavor that I became this way. And I did consciously choose that at 12. All of us can do that. We can shift things. And when we do, be absolutely certain to pat yourself on the back. These are brave and heroic times. And I just finally will say, I really appreciate how brave and heroic you are, Debbie.
thank you, David, that it means a lot. And
Mhm.
I'm just reminded when you said that too, that we are all superheroes in our story.
We really are. That's a
Yeah.
great way to say it. Yeah, terrific. Everyone, if you'd like to, again, work with Debbie, I highly recommend it. Freebirdspirit.com. You can find her classes, you can find her community, you can watch her terrific videos. Don't hesitate. Thanks, everybody, for watching.